First of all, thank you very much, UPS, and it's great for me to be here on stage and with Ted. And that's technology, entertainment, and design, I think. And I kind of bring in the entertainment here. Just when I was about to leave home, I almost came without my guitar, but then I figured, I said I should have this along, and kind of it's part of me. And it's like a soldier with a gun and a man with a guitar. Now, I think by the way, this is not fancy dress. You know, kind of, you might be thinking I'm coming out of a fancy dress gig or something like that. You know what this is? Can anybody tell me? That's a cowboy hat. These are cowboy boots, and that's a belt buckle, and you know. My friend there, he said you like my clothes. My name is Bobby Cash, but I've got another name, the one I was born with, and I'm very proud of it. It's Bal Kishore Das Loiwal. So, in case anybody, sometimes when people hear me sing or talk dressed like this, Bobby Cash, Bal Kishore Das Loiwal हूँ, Dehradun का रहने वाला हूँ, उत्तराखंड का हूँ. I was born here in this town, so पक्का हिंदुस्तानी हूँ. In case anybody has any doubts about that. I've been gifted with the gift of music, and this is something that comes from the heart. Now, most places I go to, I talk very little because I figure that people would rather hear me sing than talk. I'm sure you would also prefer that, but it's TED Talk, so I'm supposed to talk. So, but you also would like to know what makes a guy born in Dehradun into something like this, you know. And you just heard ma'am talk about the way you dress up and stuff like that, and I totally agree with you. And I've been inspired by what everybody's been saying. But I think, ma'am, it figures when I'm dressed. It says it.
Image is relevant to time, place, and occasion.
Time, place, and occasion. So I figured I almost forgot my hat coming in here. But I was born in this beautiful valley, Dehradun. And now I don't come from a family of professional musicians and stuff like that. My father came from a business background. And but somehow, and I just thank God for it, because I think music is a gift of God. And you have to have, it's something in your genes or something that nature or God gifts you with. So I was born with that. Even though I remember I was looking at some of my results when I was in school. And I think when I was in grade 1, I went to a convent school, and I was a good student, by the way. A lot of people think musicians are kind of, you know what I mean. I was a good student throughout, always got top marks. Education, I'm even, in certain circles, I'm known as Dr. Bobby Cash. So I've studied, you know, I'm not a dropout or anything. But I was looking at this result, and this was grade 1, and I stood first in class. And there was, in those days, you had, for certain subjects, you had remarks. And it was like drawing, good, whatever. And there was this thing, my mother had kept this. And when it came to singing, there was music or singing. And at the end of it, it said, poor. I make a living doing that, but this was back then, you know. And I looked at that, I said, it doesn't figure. But I'm sure, you know, the good sister, my teacher, she must have been right. I must have been terrible. But I don't know. As I grew up, I discovered I had a gift for music. Now, before I go on, I want to tell you I'm entirely self-taught. We had a memory champion. You're self-taught. Back when I was growing up, do I look very old? Anybody? No, not too old, but I come from way back. I come from a time when I was growing up. We had records. Do you know what records are? Vinyl. Yes. I come from a time we didn't even have cassettes then. They came later. No CDs, no iPods and digital music. Music was very hard to come by. And somehow, strangely enough, I love all kinds of music. I grew up in a family which loved music. I was strangely enough attracted to country music. Now, that's the music that comes from America, music of the Cowboys. I love Cowboys. When I was a kid, you know, I loved wearing hat. If I could get hold of boots or whatever. I love Western movies. I love reading. So a lot of I still read a lot, but a lot of the reading I used to do used to be Western and stuff. Cowboys attracted me. This music attracted me. But this was music that was alien to our part of the world. And now sometimes when people hear me sing, and I've sung everywhere, I've even sung in Texas with the Cowboys, they say, where do you learn this music? And people say, did you grow up in the US or somewhere? No, I didn't learn it there. I learned it right here in Dehradun, Clementon, where I grew up. But it's something I had, a gift from God, and something inside of me, from the heart, kind of a passion. I was a little boy growing up, and I used to hear singers like Johnny Cash and Hank Williams sing. And then I used to hear great guitar players. But somehow, I said I could do it. I felt inside of me. These days we live in a very different time, a time of awareness. We live in a new India where we believe we can do anything. But back then, for a boy like me to say, you know, and I'm a good guitar player, by the way, and I'm a good country music artist. But back then, to think that, you know, somebody would say, hey, Jose Feliciano is a great guitar player, or Eric Clapton or somebody, and I love those guys. They're good. I admire any talent, regardless. But I used to hear that. I said, yeah, so could I. I mean, I can play as good. I kind of believed that. It was never a thought where I came from, how I grew up. And Dehradun was a little town then. It was more of a forest. There was nothing here. I had no YouTube, no internet, nothing, just these records. And I somehow, it's kind of strange, you know, but it was fate or whatever, destiny. One of my mother's sisters, my aunt, she went to live in Nashville, Tennessee, which is the home of country music. And back then, she'd send us records and stuff like that, you know. So it just came to me. You know, it's funny because once you have a passion for something, and there's something real inside of you, things will they just come, you know, regardless of where you are. Ever since I was a kid, somehow I always had boots. I loved boots. Always had them. Guitars, even though my dad came from a business background, stuff like that, he made sure I had guitars. You didn't get a lot of guitars. It was hard getting strings. I always had them. I just thank God. I thank my parents. I thank my family. Whatever. I had the most beautiful environment. I had no teacher. But I had music. I had the gift inside of me. I just started drawing from within it. So a lot of the stuff, it doesn't matter what you want to do in life. You have to look within your own self. It's something like that, you know. It's hard for me to explain, you know. And for me, I used to hear these records. I used to hear great music. And I just wanted to play it. I had nobody to show me how to do it. So I said, I'm going to teach myself. To teach yourself, you have to know more than, you know, I'm not against teachers. But I couldn't find one. And by the time I taught myself and started playing, and some of the other people around town used to play, I was already playing ahead of what they were. So I just had to draw. I said, I've got a gift, and I'm going to go with it. And it takes hard work. And I found a very unique way of practicing. Like a lot of musicians, because I was a normal kid. You know, you're a champion because you gave up so many things. I didn't want to give up a lot of things. I wanted to go out and play my cricket and stuff, or whatever. So I started living with a guitar. I'd have a guitar with me, sleep next to me. Every time, I'd just come in, pick up and start playing, then do something else. Even when I came home from school, had my guitar, do my homework, play something. And that's the way I still practice now. I made it part of my life. Now, I never planned on becoming a professional musician. That happened much later. But one thing I always believed in was excellence. I said, if I'm going to play this, I'm going to be like the best in the world. I've always been very self-critical. I've said I want to be. At first, I got to know what excellence is. I heard the best guys playing those days on records, but I said I'm going to play like that. I set up very high standards for myself, but I had nobody to teach me. But it was just this thing for excellence, and I'd keep playing all the time. That's how I play now. Just a while back, I was sitting in the back room, and I took my guitar out, and I could do this talk, and I could still be doing my practice, and sometimes at home when even now, I can watch TV, I can watch the news, and I have my guitar in my hand. I'm just playing, I could be with people, with my family, and I'm talking. They say, hey, this is going on, this is going on. I'm very much part of what's happening and part of a conversation, and I have my guitar in my hand. And sometimes I end up playing maybe like, hey, I've timed myself, I might have played 10 hours in a day because I love to create new on this, So, of course, I don't sing so much when I'm with people, because this is kind of not so intrusive. But imagine if I started talking to you and I suddenly start singing, But I can still talk and I can still keep doing this, And just a little while back, one of the young boys from this, I think he came to my place, he spoke to me yesterday. He said, does a musician need to have a broken heart? You want to know the answer? किसी ने बोला जब तक कलाकार का दिल टूटा है तो वो कलाकार नहीं बनता. You want to know the secret? Yes. क्या मेरा दिल टूटा है? Yes. I'm a songwriter. Many times I write, and country music has a lot of heartbreaking songs about heartbreaks. And before I sing a heartbreak song, I always tell people, this is not about me. I'm a very happy guy. Music is about, and art is about being sensitive. More than a broken heart, you need a sensitive heart. It's kind of a soft, sensitive heart. And sometimes, I don't wish a heartbreak on anyone. Anybody here aspiring to be a musician or inclined to arts, you don't need a broken heart, but you need a sensitive heart. But life brings its own heartbreaks anyway. If you've lived long enough, I've been around for a long time. Down the journey of life, a lot of things happen. There's ups, there's downs, there's losses. Sometimes it's personal. Sometimes you just look around at things, It just breaks your heart anyway. If your heart is sensitive. Maybe for some people it's good to get their hearts broken if they're that hard. But music is about something from the heart, about being sensitive, that kind of thing. So a broken heart is not a must, but if your heart is broken, don't worry, use it. Probably come up with a great song, or you'll touch people's life, or if you paint or do whatever it is. But having a broken heart doesn't mean you go around crying in front of people, You understand what it feels like, and you try to connect heart to heart. It's that kind of thing. It's funny being, I'm an entertainer. What really motivates me is I have a very simple outlook in life. I think I've been blessed with a gift, and the gift is to put a smile on people's faces. If I can, the very least I can do that, I'm happy, I sing, and for that moment, it's happened many, many times with me that, I've gone in there have been people who just come in and they've gone away with a smile. That's the biggest reward that an artist can get. Now, I could give you, if I had more time, many tips on how to practice and how to be a successful artist. It's all good. It's good. It's good to be sharp. It's good to have an trained mind, because if you're smart as an artist, if you want to be a music artist, it works everywhere, and you know how to look good, and you're excellent. It's not going to fail you, and you'll end up at the right place. You have to be ready. You have to be ready all the time. Now, if you wanted me to sing, I could just sing and play something. You want to hear something? Yes. Before I go, what would you like to hear? You want to hear Broken Heart song? This got out of tune. This song I love to sing. I grew up dreaming of being a cowboy, loving the cowboy ways. Still not in tune. It's the weather right now. All right. I know I stand in line until you think you have the time to spend an evening with me. And if he goes someplace to dance, I know that there's a chance you won't be leaving with me. And afterwards we'll drop into a quiet little place, have a drink or two. And then I'll go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like I love you. Thank you very much. I love you all. Thank you.